Okay, hey guys, Matthew here, back again to talk about the newest preview images, a little bit of a sneak peek for the next episode of Fionna and Cake, which is set to air November 20th. Once again, these images are courtesy of at the cartoon base on X/Twitter. Want to give them a follow to keep up with some cartoon news. And me just looking at some of these images, I have a lot to talk about. There's a lot of exciting things and theories that I might have, but let's get into the first image. So with this first one here, we have Marshall Lee walking with Gary, and it looks like they're probably having kind of a serious conversation based off their facial expressions. Marshall's gonna got a new hairstyle going on. Gary's rocking his rugby shirt. Not much to say about this image, but speculation. I kind of think they're talking about something pretty serious or something very deep, just based off the facial expressions alone. And next up, this is the big one for me. This is the one where I looked at it and I was like so hyped and coming up with so many different theories in my mind. But this one, we seem to have a younger version of Marshall Lee. This looks like Marshall Lee when he was a kid. He's in his uniform. I assume it's like a private school. You know, he comes from a rich family, maybe even a Catholic school uniform. Who knows? But I think this might be the episode where we get to see Marshall Lee's backstory with the Ice Queen. Last week's episode, if you remember, there was a scene where Marshall interacted a little bit with the Ice Queen when they bumped into each other at the supermarket. And it was a little bit of a weird moment because Marshall made a face like he recognized this woman or something mesmerized him, and Ice Queen just ran away and nothing else was said. But it looks like they're going straight into it. We won't have to wait for long. At least that's my theory here. I think we're gonna get the backstory between them and even more backstory on Marshall Lee, which is kind of interesting that we're gonna get a Marshall Lee centered episode, from what I'm assuming. Marshall Lee is obviously a very fan favorite character. I like Marshall Lee. Most Adventure Time fans love Marshall Lee. So it's going to be interesting to see his backstory and get more in depth on his mindset, especially because we know he has a lot of mommy issues. We know he has family issues, similar to our Marceline from the Land of Boo. She has daddy issues, so maybe Marshall even gets a song in this episode. That's exciting. And then, speaking of exciting, another image we have here is of baby Finn kind of floating in the air with silk kind of taking over all the buildings. And this image is kind of weird, a little bit trippy for me, but it's baby Finn and I can tell he has a little bit of a peppermint butler, the tank peppermint butler choker on, or maybe it's a necklace, or maybe it's just how he holds the wings up, but it's kind of weird. By the way, the episode's entitled The Butterfly and the River, so that's kind of ominous. What could that possibly mean? I mean, there's so much speculation we could put on this. Finn, baby Finn, floating around the city with butterfly wings, and then the city's covered in what looks to be silk or webbing of some sort. Maybe, I don't know what the episodes or these images are trying to tell us. Finn, baby Finn is gonna grow, blossom, maybe even Huntress Wizard pops up and she has some type of awakening. Maybe this episode's about awakenings. As most of you guys probably know, the symbolism when it comes to butterflies and art and media. Butterflies represent growth and change and metamorphosis. So I wonder if we'll get a lot of that in this episode. Maybe going back to Marshall Lee, maybe we'll get some growth with him and his mommy issues, his family issues kind of get worked out, and his relationship with Gary kind of blossoms even more. Or maybe Finn, baby Finn kind of grows up, goes through a growth spurt or something similar to that. And maybe Huntress Wizard, last episode she was kind of sick. She needed to be fed, so maybe she gets to the point where she kind of turns into the quote-unquote autumn version of Huntress Wizard. If you saw the trailer for this season, if you saw any images online, we've been seeing a lot of autumn, fall Huntress Wizard. So maybe we get to see that in this episode. And maybe there's also some symbolism with Fionna. You know, last episode Fionna got evicted, and these past few episodes she's kind of been going through a very tough time, having to overcome a lot. So maybe this is like her metamorphosis and her growth, and maybe we get straight into the land of Boo. This, I believe, will be like the season midway. So midway going towards the end of the season. I believe there's only 10 episodes this season. This episode will be episode 5. So there's a lot we can speculate. There's a lot we can get into. Let me know in the comments. Before you watch this episode, before it comes out, I'm curious to see people's thoughts on the whole butterfly angle, and what do you think we're gonna see with Marshall Lee? Why do we have an image of Marshall Lee as a child? What is that trying to tell us? What are we going to see? It's so interesting. It's so much to talk about, but I'm gonna keep this video short. I'm gonna keep it there, and then when the episode comes out, I'll talk about it, and we'll get into more deep dives and deep theories. Again, at the Cartoon Base on X/Twitter. Let me know what you thought of these images, and I'll see you guys for my review. Take care.